Well, welcome to the couch where your mental health matters. This is your host, Dame, not your average therapist in the building, season 6. And like always, we always talking about mental health, how to deal with stuff from A to Z, relationships, addiction, trauma, all those things in between. And this episode will be like no other. Like no other. I have a good friend that's my guest host today, and she has a story, you guys, and it's an awesome story, and I know you guys will be excited, and you'll be glued into this particular episode because we got a lot of juice, a lot of information, a lot of knowledge from personal experiences, and also what she's currently doing. So, without further ado, I want to introduce my guest, Miss Adrian Freeman, the podcaster, the elephant in the room is in the room. How you doing today? How are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Trying to maintain, in these troubling times, that's all we can do.
Right.
And again, hope you're safe. Hope all is well on your end as well as the family and everybody looking, at this particular episode. And of course, as you know, we've been kind of going through some things this last 3 months, but more specifically over this last week and a half or so, a week, with the George Floyd being murdered by a police officer, and it's been an uproar. This is felt different in a sense, especially for Black people. Although we've had countless other murders, things that have not been caught on tape, things that have been caught on tape, but this one right here, felt and hit a little bit different.
It did,
and we all felt it at the same time. We all felt that anger. We all felt, just flat out tired.
Yes.
And, from an emotional strain and then the impact of physical. So I too have been not really sleeping, things going up and down, the anger, the sadness, the perseverance, the thoughts of getting through this, but on the other side, having some change being done.
Exactly.
We're experiencing this way too often. And before we kind of got into what we was going to get into today, I just kind of wanted to hear your feedback, Ms. Freeman, on what's going on right now. Just what's your current status, if you have to rate yourself, amidst all of this, how are you?
Well, I'm okay. I'm very neutral, and I think that that might be just because we hear it on the news so much. This person of color has been killed. This one has been shot to death. This was killed at a traffic stop. This one was killed at a home invasion, wrong house. This child was playing in the park, young King, Tamir Rice playing in the park by himself, shot to death.
Mm-hmm.
Trayvon Martin had some Skittles, and Arizona tea walked in through a neighborhood, and he's killed. And you hear it so much that you get desensitized, that you don't have a feeling anymore. You're just numb. Mm-hmm. But like you said, Mr. Floyd hit different, because when I saw Amish people protesting, that took a whole nother narrative for me, because we know of the history of the Amish.
Right.
And then for them to take that kind of a stance was incredible.
Right.
In China, it's against the law to protest. They have done their own ways. We remember Tiananmen Square in '89. For those that are listening and watching, remember Tiananmen Square. Just to know that those types of things they can't do, that we do, that we take for granted. But I'm so numb to the killing.
Yeah.
My heart broke because I looked at the video and he cried for his mother. That hurt me.
Yeah.
Because all that man had to do was get up off his neck. 9 minutes or 8 minutes and 46 seconds. That's a lot of time.
A lot of time.
But we couldn't get a first degree murder, because I'm a law enforcement student, and first degree murder dictates it has to be premeditated.
Right. Exactly. And I think that's where we kind of get it mixed up at, especially in the judicial system. We want to go for the highest charge, the most severe. And when you go for the most severe, you swing that hard and you miss, then they get off. And don't receive any types of consequences. So I definitely agree that we need to know the law in order to really implement it and enforce it, so it works out on both ends and not just one. Feeling like it's, they're getting over every time.
Exactly. And that's why.
Go ahead.
And that's why I'm going back to school again to finish getting my criminal justice degree, because we don't know. Right. And like you said, if you take that pitch at the top of the ninth and you have 2 strikes and you up, and this one hit to change the game and you miss, and they call it a strike and it comes down the middle and it's a strike, it's over.
Right.
Double jeopardy, all those things that we need to know about.
Exactly.
And just take the time to just know our rights.
Mm-hmm.
Second degree is better than third degree, because in Minnesota, they have third degree. And some states don't.
Right.
So they did upgrade it. They did have to go and get an independent counsel. But in the midst of this, Breonna Taylor has not been talked about. Mr. Aubrey's been pushed to the side.
Exactly.
But they need to go back and revisit those. But those other 3 cops need to be indicted as well. Mm-hmm. And I don't want this, because it's 4 cops again, Damion. And we remember Rodney King, remember Simi Valley. Mm-hmm. And a friend of mine said there's no place on the planet they can get a fair trial. I said, if there's a way for him to adjudicate it and the judge be the only person in the courtroom along with the prosecutors and the defense attorneys, then that might be the only way of having the scales of justice balanced, I think, because
it's going to take definitely some new policies, some new procedures that need to be done. One of my Facebook friends, I forget Vicky's last name. She's going to kill me. She's a retired police officer, and she spoke out about it and just talking about the process in which you subdue someone, and proposing that no arrest like that is made with someone laying down on their stomach.
No, it's never made that way. You always subdue somebody. I remember when I had to get hit with the pepper spray, and I about you to get tased. There's a way that they handcuff you as well, that, if you fight them, you can break your wrist.
Right.
If you just relax. Of course, you're in a panic mode. This is not to discount whatever you got. You tensed up your, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you never subdue anybody that on the ground. You try to always de-escalate. And I remember one time in class, one of my instructors said, if we're shooting you below the knee. He said the kneecap is the best place, because they're not going to ever get back up. He said they'll have to have a knee replacement. He said we'll be on desk duty, maybe suspended for a while. He said, but nobody died.
Yeah.
And this was back in 88, 89.
Wow.
They were telling us that. He said if you have to discharge your weapon, you have to, he said, shoot them in the knee. He said, just for the simple fact, they're not going to get up. Now, he said, he's not saying, I'm saying discharge your weapon. But he was just saying, if you have to, that's what you do, because you take them off the ground.
Right. And we can definitely. No, I was saying we can definitely go on and have this conversation for real, because there's so many levels, so many perspectives to look at this thing, and because we have the time to let it marinate, process, see what's going on in society as far as a shift, identifying, people that can actually start movements and have been doing these things throughout this entire time. It's, it's gratifying, but to know that we have a whole lot more work to do, a lot more awareness to raise, and it's not even our job. I listened to one of the sports analysts this morning that was talking about it, and he pretty much said that it's not our duty to really inform another culture of our culture. If you really want to truly talk about equality, you learn about a culture and their struggles and their, strengths and the things that they do well at, what we've excelled in, what our historical perspectives are. To really truly love someone and to be able to show empathy, to put yourself in that person's shoes, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and a lot of people wouldn't. I have a lot of Caucasian friends and colleagues and things like that. None of them would switch shoes with me, you know,
No,
and, and,
no.
and and I consider myself halfway okay. I'm not at the bottom of the rack, but I'm not at the top either. So for you to have that thought process, it's like, well, why wouldn't I want to have this life? What factors lead into me making that particular decision? But we can talk about that. Definitely, we will talk about that. But before we go any further, I definitely wanted to introduce you and give the people a little bit of background, Ms. Adrian, on what your platform is, why you're here today, besides being a good friend, a huge mental health advocate, definitely. But let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Okay.
Let's talk about that. What is that elephant in the room?
The elephant in the room, my podcast on Facebook Live every Sunday from 1 to 2, is a love letter to mental health. It is my ode.
Okay.
It is my love to mental health, the thing that I've carried since I was in the 8th grade. That was the first time I remember having a what you call a meltdown.
Mm-hmm.
So I've carried the struggle and went through all the nuances of being hospitalized and being committed against my will or voluntarily, and just wanting to just share with the culture
Mm-hmm.
that it's okay to not be okay.
Right.
That we don't have to have the hair and the nails and the makeup, and we don't have to bling and floss. Sometimes, if you get up out of bed and get a shower, then you're okay. You've made it through the day.
Wow.
We don't have to. This is not a dog and pony show. This is our lives.
Right.
And it means a lot to me when I talk about it, and anybody that asks me to come and talk about it, because I have a first-person narrative. I have suffered, like I said, since 1978 with a mental health issue. I have 2 parents that have mental health issues, so I kind of knew once I got that pulled out of them that I knew what I was facing.
Wow.
To know that you have parents that have mental health issues, and for them to find as an adult, finally to admit to you, well, yeah, I did this and that, your dad, this, that, and the third. And I just want to share my narrative and break the stigma, bring awareness, let people know that everybody is not a creeper. Don't let the movies, don't let the media, don't let anybody think that, we're just these wretched, horrible, Jezebel-esque type women. That we're beautiful, we're beautifully flawed.
Right, absolutely. I appreciate you expressing that, and I know someone that needs to hear that. And there's a woman out there that's struggling, man, child that's struggling, and to kind of for you to express it that way, it definitely lets them know that they're not alone, and there is that light at the end of the tunnel, in regards to treatment. And it's a steady thing. It's like a tunnel may be kind of long, but you got to maintain and utilize the coping skills that you do have and develop some new ones over time, because the old ones may get stale.
Exactly.
So let's switch it a little bit, and let's talk about from your personal experience as well as from the outside looking in. What are some of the misconceptions that you've heard over your years about mental health?
The misconceptions. Black people don't talk about it. We go somewhere and we pray it out of you. Oh, you just like your daddy. You get that from your daddy's side of the family. There's you need to be put away, or some things like that I've heard. All kinds of things. And then now with the dawn of the new millennium, then they have us now as the angry Black woman. They have us like that, and we're strong and opinionated, we're angry. And a lot of us are just broken little girls.
Yes, hurt, yes. Has experienced trauma in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Yes. We have to be able to put a eyeing look in what we consider trauma. Our trauma, especially in the Black community, may not consist of, but should be consisted of your upbringing, whether you didn't know whether you was going to have lights one evening, or you didn't have any food and you had to kind of stretch it out throughout the week, and just not knowing if you're going to have a place to stay the following month. A lot of people don't necessarily have to deal with those particular things, but it is a
No, no.
it is a normal. We've normalized trauma. And the reason
Yeah.
why we're angry or we have this emotional wall is because we were not allowed to express in that environment the most effective way. It was normally either anger, or we try to numb that pain and that hurt through aggression, through substance use, through traumatizing someone else.
Exactly.
So we have to start with us first, especially with what's going on. Start with us first, and then we can promote from within. And we
Yeah,
were
I had
talking.
posted something.
Uh huh.
I posted something last year on Instagram. It was funny. You said that people mistake, culture. That trauma is culture. They think that's the way you're supposed to live. They're supposed to be generational situations. They're supposed to stay, in Dillahay Court or Piedmont Court, the grandmothers, the mothers, the daughters. They're supposed to do that. That's what my grandmother did. That's what my mama did. That's what I'm going to do.
Right, exactly.
They think, well, she worked at this nursing home and my mama's there now. And no, it's not. That's trauma. It's not culture.
Right. Absolutely.
Culture is watching my grandmother with snap peas and watching her cook and hearing about stories. We just get so inundated with ourselves sometimes. We think those things, like you said, they normalize.
And with everything that's going on right now, whether you're talking about the pandemic, that's kind of lost its number one trending spot.
Yes.
Over the last week and a half, but we're still battling that, on a daily basis, and dealing with that thing without it coming to a resolve, and then having a whole new issue or multiple issues surrounding that when we're talking about race relations and we're talking about the culture and Black people being hit the hardest in this pandemic, and then now continuously losing people due to police brutality and an ineffective justice and social system that we do have. It's been difficult. So I just kind of wanted to kind of know where you were kind of dealing with this, and how do you manage? How have you been managed during the quarantine, the shutdowns, the actual phase 1, and kind of like this new normal that we have going on?
Let me start. When our job ended March 18th, I had some things that had going on with school and things like that. And then the stressors started to build around April. We went back in April for a week, and then they came back in, and then, he came back in with the stay-at-home order again. It was more intensive that next time. Governor Cooper did.
Right.
I was at home, I was in school, I was trying to work from home, trying to go to school. It was very hard trying to stay up with social media. I had some real personal issues that I was not addressing. I was not on medication at that time, had not been on medication at the beginning of April, had not been on medication for several years. So a lot of things were mushrooming. And then, boom, we end up in the hospital on the 25th of April.
Wow. And what do you feel like? I mean, definitely those contributing factors, and just the climate kind of increased those symptoms. What do you feel, and how would you express to someone that's listening to this or watching this? What were some of the tell signs that it was needed that you get some inpatient type of treatment in order to address what you was dealing with at that time?
The one thing for me, not taking my medication, not being able to talk to my therapist, not doing the due diligence that I needed to do, the things that I need to be more in charge of that I can do. I can open up a pill bottle and take it, but then again, I have to go and tell you that I need help.
Right. Absolutely.
I had to just kind of go in the hospital, and I was glad to go because I had to work on myself. But the one thing was I was very agitated. I cried all the time. I was a self-harmer. I would hit myself a lot. I cried a lot, very agitated, very moody, very just. I was just up all night a couple times. A lot of times during the night I was up all night, sleep all day.
Right.
The quarantine, and things like that are not good for people that have real mental health issues. Because being stuck in the house was horrible.
Wow. So understanding that now and going through the process that you have and the continuing process that you're going through, what are some things that you found helpful for you? Because everyone is different. Everyone has different ways of coping, and maintaining and, overall dealing with issues, in a healthy way. So what are some of those ways that you can give to people that has worked for you, in
I
managing this?
journal. I went the dollar store, wherever. This is $1. I buy this and I just write. I just write.
Mm-hmm.
Just write. I just write. I write. I draw. I write. I just write. I write whatever. Just whatever. I write. I look at something funny on TV. I listen to something, a podcast, or I listen to funny music, or I look at a movie. I write. I drink water. And for me, the thing that I do is if something is happening or going on, I try to find the lesson in it.
Mm.
I try to find where the lesson is, good or bad. It was like takeaways. When you get mental clarity and you start to get mentally sober, you will find every situation that you're in, whether, however it comes to you. I always learn now to find the takeaway.
Right. Like I always say, finding the positive in any negative situation.
They're trying to.
It's a skill, but there's a positive in every negative situation, and kind of just speaking on where we are right now, taking positives out of this negative situation that we're dealing with right now. I definitely wanted to kind of leave you guys on that particular note. Even though we're going through what we're going through, we've been going through it. It's just a little bit more headlines, a little bit more spotlight. There's a little bit of awareness that's being awakened, I guess, in what we've been dealing with for over 400 years, being here. So understanding that aspect of it and being that change that you want to see in this. Everybody has a role. I did a show a week or so ago and we talked about everyone having a role. Everybody is not a frontliner. Everybody is not a protester, but what do you contribute into the overall betterment of us as a culture and as a people, as well as a race? So your podcast, Elephant in the Room, that's something that you're contributing. Maintaining your mental health and making sure that we're in a good space and being able to process these emotions that we are having. Everyone has a lane. I mean, you can't have multiple lanes.
Right.
But we all have something that we can contribute to the system. Even if it's negative, that's still a contribution that allows conversations to be had.
Right.
Based on whatever your culture is and your perspective, it gives you an opportunity for clarity as well as conversation and comprehension. Because we can communicate all day, but if you're not comprehending what I'm saying, it's a wasted conversation, really.
Right.
So we had our little soapboxes there, Adrian. We definitely took it there for a little bit, but I definitely wanted to before we get out of here, just kind of touch on again, reiterate your platform. Where can we find it? All those things. I want to know your social media, all those things. How can they get in contact with you?
All right, my social media, boys, a couple of things. Everybody can go to my website, safewithadrian.com. I'm always posting updates weekly. I'm talking about the podcast. I've got a couple episodes on there. A little bit about me, background, how I came to be who I am. One of my stand-ups is on there. Different links.
You left that out. You left that out, Adrian. What stand-ups? Hold on. Stop the press. Sure. Stop. What stand-ups? What do you mean?
I do stand-up comedy.
You left that out, Adrian. How we supposed to know that you do stand-up comedy so we can support it?
Because I haven't done anything since my birthday,
Okay.
March the 4th.
Okay. Okay.
And that was the night that I had the huge meltdown.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's there. And when we go back to normal, when the Comedy Zone opens up, please guys go to the Comedy Zone page and look up Funny on the Fly and come out and support us, local comics.
Absolutely.
Support comedy. Just support it, period. Because we've been down for a minute. They're doing comedy in Rock Hill. Shout out to Chris Corrado and them down there in Rock Hill. He's doing shows because it's another state. But, you know, when we can get back here in North Carolina, we can get back. I'm back at it. I just have a different mindset.
Okay.
It's a conversation between me and the audience. Hey. Everything I say is not going to be funny, but it's funny to me. And at some point, I hope I can make somebody laugh and somebody can be like, wow, I thought I was the only one. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Those are the things that I want to have a new takeaway when I get back on stage.
Right.
But yes, Thanks with Adrian is the website. I said weekly updates. It's dope. Go look around. I am the Adrian Michelle Freeman on Facebook. The Notorious AMF is what it is on Facebook. Instagram, the Adrian Michelle Freeman. I'm there as well. The Elephant in the Room is the IG page as well. Facebook Live every Sunday from 1 to 2. The Elephant in the Room. My love letter to mental health. I drop gems on Facebook sometimes. So anyway, that's on the website. Those are my social media handles. And if you want to email me, adrianfreeman122@gmail.com. That's who I am. That's where I'll be. Yes,
absolutely. We definitely appreciate having you on the couch today, Miss Adrian. We're definitely going to check out the Elephant in the Room over there. We met at Power 104, so shout out to Power 104.4 over there. Holiday, what's going on?
What's up, Holiday?
Yeah, all those cats over there still doing it. I see you guys. I definitely see you. So, but again, I definitely appreciate you, Ms. Adrian, for coming in and talking about this elephant in the room that we've been avoiding, and we're gonna continue to talk about it because your mental health does matter, and we're gonna talk for a bit. That's what we do here on the couch each and every week because your mental health matters. All right, so next time, you never know who's gonna be on the couch. You just never know. I tell people this every week, and they don't believe me. Like one day I may have a porn star on here, the next I may have a politician. You never know.
All right, I like that.
So again, you guys, this is your host, Dane Dash, not your average therapist. I got my guest, Miss Adrian Freeman. Don't forget to make sure you guys go to all her social media pages. Elephant in the Room, Miss Adrian Freeman. Her Comedy Zone. Will y'all open back up? Take your time, but don't rush it. I don't know
when the date is. I don't know when the date is. I asked somebody the other night.
Don't rush it.
I don't want to push it.
Give it about 14 days after all this right here, because we've been protesting and out and about, and we haven't been practicing our social distancing. So I need to give it about 14 more days before I'm just really out there. I need to check and make sure.
I'm ready to get on stage and burn it down. I got a whole bunch of material, but I don't want to hear no more COVID jokes.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave that to the pros. I'm going to get on stage and talk about what I know and what I've experienced. And it's not COVID related.
Absolutely. Well, again, you guys, check y'all next time here on the couch where your mental health matters. So can we talk for a bit? Again, I'm your host, Dane Dash. Check y'all next time, all right? Peace. Take it easy.